All right, y'all, day one. Y'all, we talked about it. Excited about the opportunities, right? Excited about the opportunity we have. Starts right now. The devil's in the details. Everything we do. Detail-oriented, purposeful, intentional, high level of communication.
From the moment Caitlin Clark walked into the Gainbridge Fieldhouse practice facility this morning, the atmosphere shifted as camera flashes erupted and executives watched tensely from the upper balconies, as if the entire basketball world had momentarily frozen in expectation. She passed through the double doors, settled at her locker, laced up her signature sneakers, and then stepped onto the polished hardwood of the Salesforce court without acknowledging the surrounding media scrums or delivering any rehearsed PR statement, silently reinforcing her presence and influence to everyone in the building and across the league. With day one of Indiana Fever training camp now complete, what unfolded is already unsettling for narrative-driven commentators, corporate spin interpreters, and front office defenders alike. Early information emerging from Indianapolis is not just favorable. It is being described as statistically and psychologically disruptive for opposing teams across the WNBA. The reality of today stands in clear contrast to the social media predictions, engagement-fueled speculation accounts, and even the messaging that had been coming from the Indiana Fever organization in the days leading up to camp. This is the unfiltered account of what took place when 16 elite professional athletes finally hit the floor for the first official practice session of the season. Right from the opening possession, Caitlin Clark took complete command of the offense, locking in and dictating the tempo as she pushed transition at a blistering pace that immediately put defenders under pressure and scrambling to recover. She was threading passes to cutters before they even recognized the opening, slipping the ball through tight defensive gaps with precision that made even seasoned professionals pause in recognition, while also stepping into deep logo range shots from well beyond 30 feet with total confidence and rhythm. After an 8-month break from WNBA competition, there was no sign of hesitation, no visible rust, and certainly none of the careful, limited movement you might expect from a player returning after a long absence. Instead, she operated with full control and aggression, reading the floor like it belonged to her. Every action carried intent, every possession felt deliberate, and the overall picture was of a player fully engaged rather than easing back in. From the first whistle to the end of the session, she maintained that same intensity and pace, turning day one of camp into a clear statement of readiness and focus.
This year's draft. Now we're gonna jump right into this thing, man. One picture has sent the internet in uproar, bro. That is seeing Caitlin Clark back in the gym. This is the photo from Tony East that had surfaced online. So as you guys can see here, Caitlin Clark is in the gymnasium, the Fever practice facility, and she's ready to go, man. Today is the first day of training camp for the Indiana Fever. Now, what we can expect is a lot of clips. Hopefully we get some clips from Caitlin Clark and the team, kind of seeing them gelling.
In the wider media conversation, there's been intense debate over how the early narrative surrounding the Indiana Fever has been framed, with weeks of speculation suggesting internal conflict, strategic sabotage, and organizational tension directed at Caitlin Clark. Much of that online discussion portrayed the front office as deliberately working against her, raising claims about roster decisions, coaching intentions, and the role of new additions like Raven Johnson being part of a larger scheme to shift responsibilities away from Clark. However, when the first day of camp actually arrived and practice finally began, the on-court reality looked far more straightforward and grounded in normal team development. Clark operated as the primary offensive engine, orchestrating possessions and setting the tone, while the team functioned within a structured system focused on building chemistry and rhythm. Raven Johnson, rather than any exaggerated narrative role, was simply competing at full intensity, defending, learning, and adjusting to the pace of the professional level like any rookie entering her first WNBA environment. Instead of the dramatic storyline of conflict and control being played out, what emerged on the floor was a standard training camp setting where a star leads the offense, veterans and rookies fulfill their roles, and a young team works through the early stages of cohesion. Putting her head down, focusing on the work, and grinding through the early days of camp doesn't automatically erase the concerns that fans have been raising over the past week. Leading into training camp, the Indiana Fever's public messaging created a wave of debate, with head coach Stephanie White's description of Caitlin Clark as both an on- and off-ball player coming across as unclear from a tactical standpoint, and comments from President Kelly Krauskopf about a generational phenomenon needing to adjust to the system, being widely interpreted as controversial and poorly received. Senior advisor Lynn Dunn's remarks dismissing portions of the fanbase as overly critical added further fuel to the conversation, while general manager Amber Cox's discussion about Raven Johnson developing into a combo guard raised additional questions about overall role distribution and roster direction. Those communication choices sparked frustration and intensified scrutiny around the organization's approach, but there remains a clear separation between front office messaging and on-court reality. When the basketball finally went live on day one of camp, the picture was straightforward and grounded in execution. Caitlin Clark was operating as the primary engine of the offense, setting the tone and running the system on the floor. Any further debate ends right there, because if head coach Stephanie White ever had a different vision quietly forming about a rigid, system-first offense that might reduce Caitlin Clark's influence, that entire idea would have already run into a far more complex layer of perception and positioning that was set in motion long before training camp even began. Revisit the resurfacing clip where Clark openly speaks about Stephanie White's basketball IQ and coaching mindset, and what becomes clear is how narrative control in modern sports is often established before a single official possession is played. That framing matters because it shapes how every tactical decision is interpreted once the real action starts. And as camp moves forward, it becomes less about speculation and more about how that pre-existing perception aligns with what is actually unfolding on the court.
It's a short time with you and Stephanie as your head coach. What do you appreciate the most about what you're learning from her right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I've always admired about Steph, and I've known her for quite some time now, obviously not on the level that I do now, but like she just has a really, really good basketball mind. And if you listen to her call NBA games or college games, like her knowledge of the game is far better than most people. Like she understands how the game is supposed to be played, situation basketball. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to put people in positions to be successful, 1 through 5 on the floor. She's going to put us in lineups that are successful, but also like she's going to hold you accountable. She's going to coach you, and that's something I'm really grateful for. But also like she's just been a good sounding board for my.
Caitlin Clark's comment. She knows what she's doing. She knows how to put people in positions to be successful. She is going to put us in lineups that are successful. Reads under a more analytical lens as more than routine media praise. In the context of professional basketball, where every quote gets overinterpreted, it functions as a clear endorsement of coaching adaptability and role optimization rather than a rigid system mandate. She is publicly expressing confidence that Stephanie White understands how to maximize personnel through lineup construction and situational deployment. From a basketball standpoint, Clark's own production profile is already well-defined. She is most impactful when initiating offense, handling primary playmaking duties, controlling tempo, and operating as the central decision-maker in pick-and-roll and transition settings. Those are the environments where her assist creation, spacing manipulation, and deep shooting gravity most consistently translate into offensive efficiency. That said, it's important not to overextend the interpretation into a fixed strategic declaration. Public comments, even confident ones, don't lock a coach into a single schematic identity before camp evaluation begins. Training camp is specifically where experimentation happens. Different guard combinations, off-ball reps, staggered minutes, and situational lineups are all tested to see what scales under pressure. So while Clark's quote does reinforce trust in a coach's ability to place players effectively, it doesn't eliminate the practical reality that systems in the WNBA, like any professional league, are iterative. Roles are clarified through repetition, film, and performance, not finalized through early media framing or preseason expectations. As for Raven Johnson, she appeared composed throughout the session, staying within her defensive assignments and maintaining consistent effort without being affected by external attention or surrounding narratives. Her role is centered on defensive pressure at the point of attack and providing energy on that end of the floor, rather than carrying primary offensive responsibilities or playmaking load. Overall, What emerges from this situation is less about internal conflict or dramatic storylines and more about an ongoing evaluation process where rotations, roles, and combinations are still being explored in a live training environment. Nothing is fully defined at this stage, and clarity typically comes only after sustained on-court repetition and film review over time. Caitlin Clark and Raven Johnson were on the floor together during today's practice, participating in drills, running through sets, and competing in controlled scrimmage environments, and the session remained stable and structured throughout. As Aaliyah Boston recently noted in a podcast discussion, external narratives often exaggerate tension that doesn't reflect what actually exists inside the locker room or on the court. In practice settings like this, both players operate as professionals focused on execution rather than outside interpretation. Clark brings offensive creation and tempo control, while Johnson contributes defensive intensity and pressure, and both functions can coexist within the same system depending on lineup construction and coaching decisions. Caitlin Clark looks sharp today, and the underlying physical and performance details help explain why defenses consistently have to stay alert when she's on the floor. After a demanding season in which she carried a heavy offensive workload and absorbed constant defensive pressure as the focal point of her team, her off-season emphasis appeared centered on rebuilding strength, improving conditioning, and reinforcing overall durability. She also spent time in competitive off-season environments against high-level talent, using those reps to refine timing, pacing, and decision-making rather than altering her core playing style. Those situations typically sharpen a player's reads and rhythm, and that same steadiness carried into her return to camp. Back in practice, she looked engaged and confident, showing quick processing on reads, controlled handle under pressure, and the same aggressive scoring mindset that forces defenses to shift early in possessions. Her value comes from how naturally she manipulates defensive attention, creating advantages through both scoring threat and playmaking gravity. In a brief high-level run reported from competitive settings, she produced efficient output in limited minutes, highlighted by strong perimeter shooting and balanced scoring playmaking impact, which reflects the kind of compressed productivity that stands out in short, high-intensity stretches. That rhythm seemed to carry into Indiana Fever camp sessions as well, where she operated with composure and control, appearing comfortable in tempo and decision-making. Rather than signaling any dramatic transformation, it reflects continuity, an elite guard returning with familiar strengths, reinforced conditioning, and a refined sense of pacing entering the next phase of team preparation.
Baby girl, I'm feeling rocket.
Darts, bruh. Nothing but darts. Yeah, man. So today's the day. So we should be getting a lot of content today, a lot of news today. I know the Indiana Fever admins is going to work some things out to keep us informed.
The physical explosiveness was immediately noticeable, with her first step looking sharp and electric again after being limited by injuries last season, while her shooting mechanics appeared smooth, fluid, and consistently dangerous from deep range, extending comfortably beyond the arc. Her passing stood out with precision and timing, using subtle eyes and manipulation to draw defenders before threading tight window deliveries into collapsing coverage. The competitiveness was unmistakable in every rep, reflecting a mindset that she is not stepping into a reduced role or passive system, but instead competing to maintain full command of the offense. Around her, the roster structure appears deeper and more balanced, with Kelsey Mitchell returning as a proven scoring threat capable of capitalizing on the spacing and gravity she creates, while Aaliyah Boston continues to anchor the interior as a reliable pick-and-roll presence following her long-term extension. Lexi Hull provides perimeter shooting efficiency that rises alongside Clark's playmaking. Sophie Cunningham adds physical edge and perimeter toughness, and Monique Billings contributes rebounding and vertical presence to extend possessions. Maisha Hines-Allen offers interior passing and front court versatility. Raven Johnson brings point-of-attack defensive pressure to take on opposing guards. Tasha Harris supplies veteran backcourt stability, and rookie Justine Pat adds floor spacing from the wing with her shooting range, collectively shaping a roster designed to balance shooting, defense, and interior strength around a high-usage primary creator. The question at the center of all the debate is actually more straightforward than the surrounding narrative suggests. Roles in training camp are fluid, but Caitlin Clark's identity on the floor does not change at the foundational level. Based on how elite guards are typically deployed and what is consistently observed when she's on the court, she functions as the primary initiator of offense, meaning the ball is in her hands most often, she dictates tempo, and she is responsible for generating the majority of early offense and half-court creation. That said, still the point guard, in a strict, permanent sense, is something no coaching staff locks in after a single practice, because rotations, staggered lineups, and situational possessions are all tested across camp and preseason. So the accurate answer is that she remains the primary point-of-attack creator and offensive organizer in the system, while the exact distribution of responsibilities around her is still being evaluated in real time. It's more accurate to separate confidence from certainty here. What the practice environment can show is usage, role emphasis, and rhythm, not final, season-long hierarchy. In that context, Caitlin Clark clearly operates as a primary offensive initiator and focal point when she's on the floor. The offense flows through her decisions. She handles the ball frequently, sets tempo, and creates advantages through both scoring threat and passing gravity. That is what people usually mean when they describe a player as an engine. However, calling anything undisputed this early goes beyond what training camp or a single practice can actually confirm. Teams deliberately experiment in these settings, testing staggered lineups, alternative ball handling responsibilities, and different defensive matchups. Coaches use this period to gather information, not to lock in permanent structure. So the grounded takeaway is this: Clark remains the central offensive organizer and most important decision-maker in Indiana's half-court and transition creation, and the system is clearly built around her strengths. Whether that translates into the same level of dominance across every situation, lineup, and late-game scenario is something that only preseason and regular season sample size will determine. Hit subscribe now if you're ready for a season that's already shaping up to be must-watch basketball, because this channel is focused on tape breakdowns, real analytics, and what actually happens on the floor, not noise. Drop your day one reaction in the comments. Who do you think read the situation right this week, and what moment from practice stood out most to you? Are you feeling optimistic after the early reports, or still questioning how everything will come together over the long run? And just how far can Caitlin Clark realistically push the season? If the roster fully clicks? Turn on notifications, because preseason is right around the corner, and every possession, adjustment, and key sequence is about to matter even more. The speculation is fading. The basketball is about to take over.